The ball is on the 25, and it is 1st and 10. Welcome back to the show. Today is all things Panthers. We're going to review the past season, go into the offseason and look at that as well, and then project into 2025. Metro, are you ready to go?
100% all things Carolina Panthers. Let's hop into it.
All right, Metro, let's review the Panthers 2024 season. I know we're not going to take too long at this, but we do have to look at this because we have to learn from the past to adapt and overcome in the future. The Carolina Panthers finished 5-12 on the season in the NFC South, technically tying for last. Technically, the Saints, we were kind of talking about this earlier, they're a little bit worse, but pretty much the same thing. Points scored, that is offense, they were 23rd in the league, and then points allowed, dead last. Over 500 points were given up by this defense. So offense was fine. Bryce Young made strides. Bryce Young made strides throughout the he made strides at the back end of the year, and then for the defense, it was just abysmal. I mean, absolutely abysmal.
Yeah, when you look at the statistics over the season, these are more like averages and whatnot.
Yep.
So this is all from teamrankings.com. They averaged, like you said, the 23rd most points per game, which was 20.1, 29th yards per game, which is 298.0, 2.4 touchdowns per game. The only number, at least out of like the general numbers, that was above league average was their red zone scoring percentage. They were decent at running the football, below average at passing the football. Of course, there's some context we have to go over with that, which we'll talk about in a second. And as Cade mentioned, this defense was really rough. They ranked dead last in opponents' points per game, opponents' yards per game, giving up over 400 yards, by the way. Dead last in opponents' touchdowns per game, third to last in opponent red zone scoring percentage, and dead last in opponent third down conversion rate. They ranked dead last in every single major defensive rushing statistic. They ranked dead last in opponent rush play percentage, 5.2 yards per rush, 34.8 opponent rushes a game. The only statistic they were not dead last in was opponents' rushing touchdowns per game at 1.4, which was the third worst in the league. So not very good. And then passing-wise, they also were not very good. And I think what also makes it even worse is they were not good against the pass, but they also were so heavily going against the run. So teams were running the ball 51% of the time, whereas they were passing the ball 48% of the time. Typically, it's the other way around. And even despite that, this team was rough. But if there's any silver lining, it is that the back stretch of the season in 2024, they were significantly better, and it starts with Bryce Young. So, Cade, you want to start the Bryce Young conversation and how he ended his season? Because there's some bright spots.
Yeah, Bryce Young last year had one of the biggest comebacks I've seen personally by a quarterback. I think Metro agrees with me there, too. To start the season, it was pretty rough, a lot like 2023. And then at one point he got benched and everyone thought it was just over, like completely over for the rest of his career. And then the Chiefs game, they did not win that game, but he was so poised, making plays all over the place on the road. And that was kind of the turntable game for the rest of the season. Heading out through the rest of the season, he looked confident. He looked happy above everything. Like, he was a genuinely happy guy, which sounds so dumb, but the guy was enjoying football again, which makes the game come that much more easy for you. And he balled out the last couple games of the season. So if we go into 2025 with back end season of Bryce Young, we're going to be cooking with gas. Metro, what did you see last year?
Yeah, I put up the statistics here. So before he got benched in the games versus the Chargers and the game against the New Orleans Saints, he had 2 interceptions versus the Saints, no touchdowns. An interception versus the Chargers, no touchdowns. In both those games, less than 200 yards. I guess the Chargers less than 100 yards. When he started to kind of get things rolling was, as you mentioned, the Chiefs game. A few weeks prior to that, when he did return, he started to look a little bit better, a little bit more, what you would want for a young quarterback. But that Chiefs game, when he kind of broke out and was going, toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and actually looking really confident, was playing very well, and he was kind of able to consistently perform at that level throughout the rest of the season. It wasn't always, pretty. They had a pretty bad loss to the Buccaneers late in the season and a pretty lame loss against the Cowboys too. But surrounding that game, there was a lot of really impressive performances that make you feel more confident with Bryce Young. So as I talked about with the general statistics, when you do take into account that this team was so putrid in the first handful of weeks that a lot of their numbers were skewed because of it, kind of makes the numbers look a little bit better when you kind of put that context with it. Now, defensively speaking, there is no silver lining. This defense was bad all year long. I mean, what was their best game all season defensively? I would venture to say it was probably that matchup against the Giants. Which the Giants, who was playing for them? Who was their quarterback at the time? Was that Daniel Jones or Drew Lock at the time? I don't.
Let me click on the game. I'll let you know. It was Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones went 190 for 2 interceptions. Good shit.
Okay, that's that. Yeah, good shit, Daniel. yeah, that tells you a lot. And they had to go to overtime in that one too. So clearly the Panthers were not a good team. And I guess we can now transition to what they did this offseason, because it was a bad team last year, but they took some strides. And I think this offseason they've done a nice job.
They really have. So let's start with the offseason signings and extensions. SparkNotes version, here we go. Extended J.C. Horn, their cornerback, 4 years, $100 million, big old contract. Then helping the defensive side of the ball, defensive interior Tershawn Wharton, 3 years, $54 million. Safety Trayvon Moehrig is going to be $51 million for 3 years, and then edge Patrick Jones II, 2 years, up to $20 million. And then, of course, defensive interior Bobby Brown III, 3 years, $21 million. And one more person, Rico Dowdle, all-pro running back, 1 year, $3 million. So that's just the SparkNotes version. But as you can see, they're trying to address this defensive line as well and as fast as they possibly can, and also extending for the future on the outside with J.C. Horn. What did you really pull away from this offseason, Metro?
Yeah, one other thing to kind of note here is that, I don't really know how true this is, but there was a point in the offseason where they were going for Milton Williams, and there was a report that he had signed a contract with them, and then it kind of got pulled underneath them, and then the Patriots brought him in. So they went to their second option in Tershawn Horton, who is a risky bet, especially compared to Milton. I think they had a good offseason though, in terms of their free agency plan. J.C. Horn, when healthy, has been really solid. He's definitely one of those cornerbacks you want to have on your team for the foreseeable future. Getting ahead of that contract now makes a lot of sense. Re-signed a number of just rotational starters, backup guys, so that was smart. In terms of their actual free agency signings, I think the biggest thing that I noticed was they're clearly trying to address defense through free agency. And it's pretty clear that last offseason they prioritized the offense. This offseason it was more focused on the defense. Of course, we'll talk about Ted McMillan here in a moment. But in terms of the actual players, Tershawn is more of just a straight-up pass rusher up the middle. Trayvon Moehrig, I thought, was really solid for the Raiders. He's easily going to step in there, probably be your best safety. Patrick Jones, rotational body. Bobby Brown, good against the run. Rico Dowdle was pretty interesting. I mean, I kind of felt like it was a weird spot for Rico because he was the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys. Now he finds himself in a position where he's the backup, but at the same time, he's going to get plenty of carries. He'll be a solid backup. It's a low risk, high reward move. And then Christian Rosenboom too, very good pickup as well. So I like what they did. What would you grade their free agency from an F to an A?
Free agency, we can't, at least in my opinion, we can't give it an A, correct? Because they didn't get any crazy stars, but you extended a really good player. You also helped that defense as much as you possibly could. I give it a B or B+. I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm somewhere like a B- to a B. Just, again, it almost felt like it was like you kind of had to have this offseason, where they didn't really have the money to spend on big-name superstar guys, but you get some genuine starters now, like Tershawn, Trayvon, Rico, and Bobby, and Christian Rosenboom. These are all guys that will get a lot of playing time for this team, and you also are able to bring back a number of veterans too. So you pair that with what they did in the draft. I really like what they've done so far. So far, so good. As we mentioned, around a B. You want to move over to the draft?
Yeah, man. The NFL draft for the Carolina Panthers. Let's go over their picks. First round, Tedero McMillan at 8 overall, the wide receiver. Second round, they get Nick Scordon, who we love, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Third round again, Princely Yu out of Ole Miss, the edge rusher. Fourth round, Trevor Etienne, the running back. Fourth round again, Lathan Ransom, the Ohio State safety. Really good value right there. Fifth round, Cam Jackson, the D tackle. Fifth round again, Mitchell Evans, the Notre Dame tight end. And then sixth round, Jimmy Horn Jr., the Colorado wide receiver. Metro, this draft was, value-wise, it was one of my favorite. I think they just got the best players they could in every single spot. And that sounds really basic and pretty dumbed down, but that's what they did. And I really loved what they got in their draft.
Yeah, it was interesting. The entire process up to the draft, everyone thought the pick would be Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
And there was always a little bit of some conversations, not necessarily from the Panthers side, but from the media side, regarding Tet and his fit with the Panthers. But it always just kind of felt like Jalen Walker was the consensus pick there. They kind of took a bit of a surprise one here by actually selecting Tet. And I don't think you could find a better fit for what this Panthers team needs. Just a reliable target, big size, big frame. A lot of question marks with this Panthers receiving core. I mean, outside of Tet McMillan, who you now bring in, you have 30-something-year-old Adam Thielen, who's in the backstage of his career. Leggett had a up-and-down rookie season, but I would say more down than good. So a lot of question marks there. And then Jalen Coker looks to be like a really solid third receiving option. So you went into this offseason not really having a dire need at the position, but you also didn't feel terribly confident about the long-term success of that room. Bringing in Tet gives you that potential number one option that will he's going to help out Bryce Young in so many different ways. How many, and this is, it's hard to predict, obviously, but how many yards do you think he's realistically going to get? Like, what do you think his end-of-season stats will look like?
Talk about Tet or Bryce Young?
Tet.
I think Tet will rattle off. I think Tet's going to be a pretty damn good receiver. I bet it'll be like a borderline bottom wide receiver one. So what's that, like 700, 800 yards in his rookie year? Really good season, just nothing crazy.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 60 to 75 catches for 800 to 950 yards, a couple touchdowns. And that doesn't sound like, oh, that's a superstar in the making, but I think when you compare that to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., like that's extremely hard to compare yourself with. I think you can expect a bit more like Marvin Harrison Jr., where showed flashes, showed glimpses, but never really kind of fully broke out. Now, granted, I do think Tet and Bryce will be connected early on. It felt like Kyler and Marvin didn't have that connection. I expect there to be that connection early on. I do expect him to be a nice safety blanket for him. And there's just a lot of different ways you can use Tet McMillan. So there's a chance that he just comes out there next year, breaks out, looks like a fantastic player for this team. But, yeah, just a good pick. You're not going to find a Tet McMillan down the board, so they got a good one in the first round.
Now, I will ask you, Metro, because we were big on this guy. Nick Gordon, second round, 19th pick in the second round. Realistically, what was the earliest you could see Nick Gordon go? And also, what pick did you expect him to, like, bottom line, he won't make it past him? Past this point, I was extremely impressed he was here at this value.
I thought the earliest he would go would be 17 to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I felt like the lowest he was going to go was, like, somewhere in the 40s. And when he fell to 51, I just thought it was, like, the best possible spot for him. I mean, there wasn't a team in bigger need of a pass rusher outside of the Panthers. Maybe the Patriots, but even then, like, they have some guys. The Panthers really didn't have anybody in the edge rushing room. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney, who I'm pretty sure got cut, was there, and you do have DJ Wanham, but outside of that, really was nothing there. So they had to address the issue, and I think Nick Gordon just perfectly fits this team and what they need. What are your thoughts on Nick Gordon? Because I have a good amount of thoughts on him.
He's electric, man. He's a really young pass rusher. Like, he feels like an older prospect. He's extremely young. He was really productive in his second year at Purdue when he transferred back, or not back, but to A&M. And the production didn't follow him there. But supposedly, he's cutting weight to that same spot he was at Purdue, where he really produced. The guy's twitchy. He's got good bend and a really good bag of pass rush moves. I think it's a crazy value, and I think he will be one of the steals on day two.
Yeah, like you mentioned, he was 285 pounds last year for A&M. Currently, when ESPN put out their review of the draft, he's down to 257, which is about, what, a 30-pound difference?
That's not light. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, clearly A&M wanted their defensive lineman to be bigger, to have more flexibility, to be used as an edge and an interior player, when that really wasn't what Nick Gordon's game was. Like, he is so much better as like an off the edge, outside linebacker, defensive end type player. For Carolina, who likes to run a lot of 3-4, he's going to probably be more of that outside linebacker, so he'll have his hand in the dirt sometimes he won't. I don't know right now what he is against the run, which is an issue because this team desperately needs some guys against the run, but I think there's potential there. He's got good size. He's got all the intangibles you want. And as a pass rusher, like you mentioned, variety of pass rush moves, sack productivity with Purdue, I expect him to be closer to that level in the NFL more so than what we saw last year for A&M. So this was just a good pickup. Like, he was a potential first-round pick. He falls to the middle of the second round, right into the laps of Carolina. And, it was just a really nice pickup there.
Heck yeah. One thing I do want to mention, their third-round pick, Princely U. Guys, he's going to be your third down specialist, and it's going to be fun to watch. He's got great bend, great length, and the dude could absolutely fly. So look out for Princely U. He's going to do some damage this season, just calling it now.
Yeah, he is, like you mentioned, he is just a highlight reel sometimes. Some of the plays he makes are just ridiculous. I don't think he's going to be a terribly impactful player year one. I think he'll probably develop more so in 2025 with Nick Scorton being probably asked to play a lot earlier. But I think on third downs, if you can get Princely out there just to put on some pass rush moves and see if he can get to the guy or get to the quarterback, he'll be able to do so. That was also good value. I had a late-ish second to early third round grade on him. He fell right into their laps with 77. So just a good pickup, especially when you take into account that Jadeveon Clowney's out the door. So they get younger in that room. They get more depth. And I think both these guys at some point will be consistent rotational starters and players for this team. So that was really nice. Quickly, do you want to just cover the rest of the draft? I mean, nothing too crazy here.
Yeah, Trevor Etienne, really young running back, obviously. Is he cousins or younger brother?
He is the younger brother of Travis.
Gotcha. Younger brother of Travis Etienne on the Jags, of course, first-round pick. He will be very interesting. Good piece to add to that room. Lathan Ransom, I think, is their best value out of this entire draft. I think he's a really well-rounded safety and could develop into a starter if any of these guys can on day 3. Cam Jackson, really interesting, 6'6", 328. He's going to be your goal line guy or any kind of short yardage situation. Just a two-gap run defender. Mitchell Evans, well, more athletic tight end. This will be kind of fun to watch and how they use him in this offense. And then also, you got Jimmy Horn Jr., the wide receiver 4. Our guy, Shedeur Sanders. Smaller guys like 5'8", works really well out of the slot. Just another piece to add to that room. So overall, great value across the board. And I think they kept stacking their players. Just how well does this unit hold up on defense? If they're abysmal like last year, which I don't expect, I don't think Metro does either because they added a lot of good pieces. I'm predicting, we'll get there in a second, but more middle of the pack. And if they're middle of the pack, this team can play.
Yeah, I'll quickly cover the rest of the players too. Trevor Etienne, I think he'll primarily be used as a specialist and maybe a change of pace guy. He kind of went to Georgia expecting to be a breakout player. Didn't really work out there. He dealt with some injuries, so that was unfortunate. But he's in a nice running back room with plenty of starters. But with Jonathan Brooks being a bit of a question mark, he could be that long-term second option if it works out. Lathan Ransom, really solid against the run. Not the greatest athlete, but like you mentioned, I do think there's the potential for him to be a solid safety for this team. Cam Jackson, a big run stuffer up the middle. He might actually get some legit playing time this year. Mitchell Evans, versatile piece, can do multiple things. Jimmy Horn Jr., by the way, has been, from what I have heard, dominating in training camp.
Wow.
People have said that he's been better than Ted. So
are you serious?
I think most of that's just because you have such high expectations for Ted that even if Ted's making all the plays, they're going to say, oh, Horn's performing better, given the fact he's a 6th-round pick, which doesn't really shock me. Jimmy Horn had everything you wanted from a receiver. He's just so tiny and slender, but, man, he's just a really solid athlete that can make some big splashy plays. So they don't really need a slot guy, but don't be surprised if Jimmy Horn gets some run in preseason and potentially makes the roster. So that'll be interesting. So like you mentioned, this is a good draft. It's going to be an impactful draft. You got guys in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, maybe even 4th round that will be impactful guys for years to come. Very solid draft. Do you want to move over now to the offense?
Yeah, man. We're going to review both the offense and the defensive depth chart. Let's start with the offense. I'm going to go from receiver down to the running back. Out wide, we have Tet McMillan. Oh, my goodness. I'm crashing out today, Metro. McMillan, first guy I read. Tet McMillan first. Xavier Legette next. Adam Thielen in the slot spot. And then we have Aquanu at left tackle. Lewis at left guard. Austin Corbett at center. Robert Hunt, the big signing from a year ago from Miami. Now he's at right guard. Right tackle, Taylor Moton. And then tight end, we have Tommy Tremble. Quarterback, Bryce Young. And then running back, Chuba Hubbard. Metro, this squad is a very unique squad. Like, I like pieces of everything. I just don't love the whole spaghetti. I don't like the whole lasagna, if that makes sense. But there's flashes of superstardom here. Just we need to see it come together.
Yeah, experienced offensive line with a lot of pieces you like. So that's always good. You obviously did a good job last year with Damian and Robert Hunt. You bring back Austin Corbett. He might start. He might be your backup. We'll see what happens with Cade Mays. You also have some good depth there, too, with Braden Christensen and Josh Nijman. So just a lot of good players there. The offensive line should be solid. In your tight end room, you have 3 young players in Tommy Tremble, JT Sanders, Mitchell Evans. JT, more of your receiving guy, but I guess kind of all these guys are a bit more like that. So, I don't know. Maybe would like to see a bit more of like a true run-blocking tight end, but that's kind of nitpicky. Wide receiving core-wise, I think bringing in Ted McMillan really opens up this offense a lot more. And if Leggett becomes the player we think he can be, you pair that with Coker, you pair that with Thielen, and some other young guy developing like potentially Jimmy Horn, I think you have a nice receiving core for the future. It's just such a young team. Like, Tet is a rookie, Leggett's in his second year. I think Coker is also in his second year. And then you got the old man and Adam Thielen, who's just like, he's like, what's the rat for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Man,
It's going to kill me.
it's gonna kill me too. I'm gonna look at that. You keep talking though.
That's what Thielen is for this young receiving core. And the running back group, Chuba Hubbard's a star. He's dominant. Rico Dowell had over 1,000 rushing yards last year, and then Trevor comes in. And this offense just kind of comes down to Bryce. Like, you feel like you have all the weapons there. It's just Master Shifu. Is that his name?
It says Splinter.
Oh, wait, no, Splinter.
I don't believe that. That's wrong.
We're probably, like, just getting blasted.
It says Splinter is the mutant rat sensei adoptive father of the Ninja Turtles.
Okay. I think Master Shifu's Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'm
Wrong
way off course
film.
here. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it kind of works for Adam Thielen. He can be Master Shifu or
I like Shifu
Splinter.
more anyways, so it works
Yeah, it
out.
kind of makes more sense. Well, who's Poe? Is Poe Tet?
Who's
I mean,
Poe?
he has to be. I mean,
Poe's
the
gotta
chosen
be-
one.
Poe's got to be Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're
Gotta
right.
be.
The chosen one, the first overall pick.
Yeah.
You got to be him. And then Tigress is Tet.
Mm-hmm.
The snake girl is, I guess, Tommy Tremble in the tight end room. And then you got the little prey mantis who's ironically going to be Jalen Coker. And the seagull will be Xavier Leggett. That's how we
Can
do
this
it.
be the thumbnail? And they'll be like, what the hell is going on here? It's the starting
have a-
5 you just would never imagine.
We're going to change the face of all the characters to the Panther starters. Bryce has
Big
the
heads?
mustache.
Yeah. We can whip something up. I think that'd be good.
But no, I mean, look, this offense comes down to Bryce. Like,
Yeah.
am I wrong when I say that? There's
No.
all the pieces there. Granted, a lot of those pieces are developing and not fully ready yet, but you got to make it work. And, you know, that's what great quarterbacks do. Even when their offense isn't star-studded or doesn't have every piece figured out, you got to make it work. And you're now in year 3, year 2 of your head coach. Now, more connection there. You've already been benched once, so, I mean, can't get much worse than that. So,
Only go up.
yeah, I mean, I really like what I saw late into last year for Bryce, but even then, I still want to see him take a next step. Like, if he is as good as he was, you know, towards the back end of last year for the rest of 2025, they'll be a good team, but they won't take that next step until Bryce fully takes that next step. So, for me, offensively speaking, it'll be fun. There's a lot of good pieces here with some vets, with some young pieces. It comes down to Bryce.
It does come down to Bryce. Now, this offense overall, if you were to predict where they're going to rank in the whole league, like last year, for example, they were ranked 23rd. Where do you think they finish this year, Metro?
I'm not going to overrate them. Here's the thing. If you're a Panthers fan watching this, or if you're just a fan of the NFL, whatever, fans always have a tendency to overrate their roster in a sense. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan, and every single year I think it's our year. So I'm there with you guys. So when I say this number, I hope I don't offend anybody. Like, this will be a good team. We'll talk about predictions here in a moment, but this will be a better offense, but it won't be like significantly better. Like, they were 23rd last year in points per game. I'm expecting like 17 to 19 range. which is fine.
Which will win you lots of games.
Yeah, and I expect them. The biggest thing they got to do is just hold on to the ball, convert third downs, get more yards per game. The points obviously matter, but if you can just hold the time of possession a lot more, that'll definitely help. So they rank 29th in yards per game. If they can get that up to like 15th in the league, that'll go a long way. So I think it'll be offense that ranks somewhere between like 15 to 20, which is better than 20 to 25.
That's right.
What do you think? What do you think? You agree?
I'm right there with you. I think like 17, 18 is the line. And if you want to bet over, go ahead. But I think that's it's good. It's a young team, guys. Like, you don't usually get exceptional production until you get great experience with high talented players. You got talent. Now, A, were they actually great talent pieces? Like, truly, with any draft pick, are they actually going to hit? A, and then B, we need experience. When you're year 3 in the league, you know much more and ready for any scenario compared to year 1. So this team in 2 years could be damn good. It's just we got to see the talent come to fruition, and then when the fruit's grown, now let's roll out and start winning some games.
Yeah, I agree. Defense,
dude. Let's go to the DN. We have Derek Brown. At nose tackle, we have Bobby Brown III. At the other DN, we have Terrence Wharton. At linebacker, we have Patrick Jones II. At linebacker, we have Trevin Wallace. At linebacker, we have Josie Jewell. At linebacker, again, we have DJ Wonham. And then corner, we have Mike Jackson. Safety, Trevin Moehrig. That's how you say it, correct, Metro?
I think so. Something like that.
Okay. And then free safety, we have Damani Richardson. Cornerback, you guys know him pretty well, J.C. Horn. And then finally, the nickelback, Joe Smith-Wade. This roster got better, right? It improved, but by how much? that's kind of enough to win a bunch of games. That's kind of my question.
Yeah, I will say this. The biggest addition of the offseason wasn't in the draft or in free agency. It was getting Derek Brown back. He missed all of last year, and man, that defensive line fell apart because primarily they just did not have Derek Brown. He's such a good player when healthy, good against the run. Not much of a pass rusher, but can at times get there. And I just think in general, this defense will be better, but you're also relying on a lot of new pieces and a lot of young guys too. And there's always the risk factor of those young guys not working out or, those guys you've been relying upon kind of, not getting better. So if Derek Brown comes back, that'll be such a key piece to this team. Bobby Brown's good against the run. Tershawn will be a bit more of your pass rusher up the middle. DJ Wonnum, hopefully, can be your go-to pass rusher off the edge, and then Nick Scorton or Prince Diamond-Mielen, one of those guys probably will be your opposite starter. Your linebackers are fine. Josie Jewell, Christian Roseboom, nothing fantastic, but I guess it gets the job done. You also drafted Trevin Wallace last year, who you're probably expecting to take a step forward, but how much of a step forward, we'll have to wait and see. Secondary-wise, I actually like the names here. J.C. Horn, Trevon Moehrig, those are really good players, but Shaw Smith-Wade is young. I thought he had an okay season last year, but still developing. Lathan Ransom's a rookie. We'll see if he starts or if that'll be Nick Scott or Damani Richardson. And then Mike Jackson is he's meh. He's okay. He's not bad. He's not good. So listen, it's not going to be 32nd, which is good. It'll be.
That's right.
I think it'll be still bottom half the NFL, but if it's 25th best, that's a lot better than dead last. So if this is the 25th best defense in the league and your offense is about league average, you'll probably win more games than what you did last year. So they got better. I just think it needs one more year of development with these young guys, more continuity, and I think it just needs one more star, or
That's
maybe
right.
one or two more stars. And I think ideally, I know it's easier said than done, but if you can get a Fred Warner or at linebacker, which every team can use Fred Warner, but specifically this team, if they can get that level linebacker or just somebody who's top 10 or top 5, man, that would go a long way.
Well said, dude. And when you look at this team, at least I'm trying to project this defense today, tomorrow, and in a couple years. Today, you said Derek Brown getting back. That's huge. Honestly,
Huge.
I forgot that in the back of my mind. He was hurt last year. That is a huge technical addition to this team and keeping him on their squad. Today, this year, I think the interior run defense will be better. In a year or two, third down can be a real strength for this team. If you have Nick Scorton and Princely you hit, we're really feeling good now. Those guys can both move. Scourton dropped weight. Princely, you can absolutely fly, and he's got to develop a little bit, like you said. But in the future, it's looking bright on third down.
Yeah, they will be significantly better against the run. Like with
Yeah.
Derek Brown, if Ransom does start for you, he's really good in run support, so you could put him in the box. Bobby Brown is a good interior run stuffer as well. Like this defensive line looks so much better on paper, and there's actually some variety to work with now, whereas last year you were just throwing bodies out there. Again, it's still like we're a year or two away till this is any sort of good defense, but for over the course of last season to what you have now, I mean, so many new bodies and just so many better players with more talent. So that's the good news. The bad news is it's probably still not going to be great next year. It still needs time. So I'll ask the question to you. What do you think ranking-wise they'll be next year?
There you go. I was actually about to ask you that, too. Yeah. For offense, we said about 18, correct?
Yeah, around 18, 19, 20.
I think defense, this interior is better than we expect. Like, this is an upgrade. Don't get me wrong. And the bottom of the NFL is bad. Bad. Like, that's what we were last year, correct? Us as Panthers people. So I think it's going to end at like 26, 25. Better than – that sounds like a minuscule jump. Guys, 500
huge
points
jump.
given up last year.
Yeah, huge
We
jump.
are making a huge stride. We're really improving the roster. And like we were talking about a second ago, 2 years out, this could be something really nice. So I'm going to give it like 26 is my line, and max potential like 22 if everything works out. Nick Scourton has a crazy year. And then the floors, I don't think they're worse than 28. There's just too many decent players now.
Let me put this to context for you guys. A jump from 32 to 25 is the difference of a full touchdown, basically.
Wow, a game?
A game. The Panthers give up 31. If they were to move to 25, that'd be at 25 points a game, which is the difference between 25 to like league average at 16 is only 3 points. So if you are 25th, you're relatively close to being league average. I mean, they were by far and away. By the way, my Dallas Cowboys were second last, averaging 27.5. So that was rough. But anyways, yeah, Carolina, like, trust me, if you can get to 25th, that's a huge difference. I mean, that's a full touchdown a game, which a full touchdown a game can keep you in a lot of different games. So take that as you will. But I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'm thinking like 25th, 24th best in the league, and I think they'll be much better against the run, which in turn will help them against the pass. It just needs more talent, more development, and if one of Nick Scourton or Princely can turn out to be a superstar, man, that'd be nice. That'd be super nice.
This is kind of a general statement, but I'm going to say it anyways. A lot of times in the NFL, we predict like the bad teams get better because of draft capital, but a lot of times it just doesn't happen. The ass stays ass and the good stays good. But with the Panthers, they are one of the few teams I am more than positive they will improve by at least 2 wins this next year, which Panthers fans are like, thank Jesus. I need it. But I feel very good about this team. Like, they upgraded in the right places on defense. They got really young talent. And if anything that they drafted on offense works out, it's going to go really well.
Yeah. Before we get to the predictions, I'll also say this. I love Dave Canales as a coach. I thought he had a rough deck of cards last year that he had to deal with, and he made the most of them. It wasn't pretty. There was plenty of times where he got out-coached or, experienced, and there was times where maybe he was in over his head. But I thought as the year went on, I thought he started to perform better. I thought the team really rallied around him. I was a big fan of him coming from, I think, Tampa Bay. So I'm a big fan. I really think he's going to work out for this Panthers team. He now gets another year under his belt, more experience with Bryce Young, more help on the offense, and more help on the defense. So this team will be better. But by how much? I guess we can talk about it.
It's time. This is the best part of the whole show, at least in my opinion. We're going to go week by week, game by game. I'm going to ask Metro whether it's a win or a loss. We'll count it up and add the full record together. We have the schedules now, Metro, because they dropped about a week and a half ago. Here we go. Game by game. You ready to do this?
I'm trying to see what is their strength of schedule.
Ooh, like the number? Let me check it out.
They are... I think they have the 5th easiest schedule this year.
Do they really?
Their the win-loss from the 2024 teams they're playing this year is 132 and 157.
They do.
So,
you're correct.
As we head into this, maybe some optimism here.
You got to love to see it. You gotta love to see it. Let's do this, man. Carolina Panthers, let's inject some hopium into your heart. Week 1, out the gates. We're going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're on the road. September 7th. It's a noon game. Who wins this one, Metro?
This is so... They're so similar in so many ways. Obviously, different situations with quarterbacks, but just... These two teams kind of feel alike. Man, I'm 50-50. I feel like Bryce has to make a statement. He cannot come out there week 1 and put up a stinker.
Yeah, you're right.
I think Jacksonville defensively can pose some problems, but can their offense, Jacksonville's offense, destroy the Panthers' defense? I'm going to say no. I'll give the Panthers a week 1 victory here. I think Bryce Young needs that week 1 victory quite a bit.
I totally agree, dude. 1-0 on the season. Going into week 2, we're still on the road. Back-to-back road games. We're going against the Cardinals this week. 3 p.m. slate. How are we feeling about this one?
Not feeling good. Arizona's a really good team. I think they'll make the playoffs next year, so I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals.
Well said. On to week 3. We are finally at home. The Atlanta Falcons are coming to our house. Who pulls this one out, Mr. Metro?
Let me see what happened in 2024.
Great question.
2024.
I know the final game was insane. It was like 48
final game. 44-38 overtime. Panthers
Mm-hmm.
win. Panthers lost by 18 versus, I think, Kirk Cousins. That was with Andy Dalton. Man, that's interesting. I'm going to take... I think the Falcons are good. I think they can make the playoffs. Michael Penix Jr. is a good quarterback, but is he ready to go up against Bryce?
Wasn't last time.
True. All right. Well, that was a 6-point game in overtime. So
It was a little bit closer than we liked.
It was pretty close.
Brycey pulled it out.
Who got better? Their pass rush got better. I'm going to go with the Panthers. I'm not too worried about their pass rush immediately, at least not in week 3. So it'll be close. It could go to overtime. I'll go Panthers 2-1 so far.
OT game winner, 2-0, 2-1 on the season. Now we go back on the road. We're playing against the Patriots in their house on September 28th. Metro, how are we feeling about this one?
Man, not very good. I feel like I'm going to say that a lot. New England got significantly better this offseason. I would say they got, how do I word this? I think they got slightly better than Carolina. I thought coming into this offseason, Carolina was better roster-wise. But you bring in Mike Vrabel, who I just think is a great, fantastic, proven, established head coach. I like Drake May a lot. I think Drake May has maybe shown more so far than Bryce, at least in his rookie year for sure. And, man, they surrounded him with some talent. I still think Carolina has a shot in this game, but I'm going to pick the Patriots to win this one.
Gotcha. We are 2-2 on the season. We're in October now, back at home. We got back-to-back home games. First one, the Miami Dolphins come to town.
I have a hard time with this one. I think Miami puts up a lot of points here. Miami is one of those teams that I think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts, and I don't know if Carolina can keep up with them, especially if Tua's healthy. So if Tua's healthy, give me Miami. If Tua's not, give me Carolina. But we're going to assume Tua's here, so I'll give I'll give Miami the win here.
Well said. Miami drops points when it's sunny out for those first 2 months. So we are 2-3 on the season. Back at home, the Cowboys come to town. Who's winning this one?
Dallas. Dallas beat them up pretty badly last year without Dak, and I think this offseason they've made some killer moves. By the way, Cowboys fan here, I've heard rumors about the Cowboys trading for Ramsey. Just saying.
Oh, hell.
I'm just saying.
We'll see. I've never seen the Cowboys make an actual big-time trade besides, back in the 90s, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, for what I think the trade will involve will be like a Trevon Diggs for Jalen Ramsey swap. That's what I've kind of been hearing.
That's assault.
So, and I'm taking that. I mean,
That
if Miami
trade needs to get vetoed by the league.
Hey, no, it does not. Give me Ramsey, man. He may be in his 30s, but...
No, give me Ramsey.
Dude, I looked at his contract, and, dude, I was sweating bullets, dude. When he's 34, he's going to get, $30 million. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Ramsey?
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm hopeful. If they do make the trade, they better put something in that contract, though. Say, hey, man, if you suck when you're 34, we ain't paying you, bro.
You're gone, buddy.
Get off.
We're on to week 7, on the road again. We're going to New York. We're playing the Jets. Who wins this game?
What's the record so far?
We are 2-4.
2-4.
Vibes are down.
Yeah, well, it could be worse.
It could be worse.
They were 0-5 or 0-6 at this point last year.
They were in literal hell last year, yeah.
This is interesting. I think Justin Fields has. Who do you think has had a better career so far? I mean, Fields or Bryce? That's a
damn good question. And I think it's what I saw last year at the end of the season. I like Bryce more. Fields hasn't had a game like I saw in the last year with Bryce, and that's just where I'm at.
Yeah, that is true. Bryce, man, he was killing the Chiefs defense. The Jets have a lot to prove this year. I really like their head coach. I think Fields will have a good year, but I'm going to give the Panthers a win here. I just something about this matchup doesn't feel very good for New York, and I feel like this is a matchup where Carolina can take advantage of certain things. So, give me the Panthers.
Feed me the hopium, Metro. Now we're 3-4 in the season, making a Super Bowl run, going into Week 8. It's October 26th, and we are back at home. The Buffalo Bills come to town. How does this one shake out?
Panthers fans stay at home that day. Ticket prices, by the way, that's like the second highest priced tickets that week. Panthers fans, do not go. Save your money.
Save your money, dog. Don't go to that shit.
Yeah,
we're 3-5.
Buffalo is one of those teams that when they go up against a mediocre roster can just drop 60 on you.
Belt to ass.
Yes, belt to ass. So I'm just hoping for a slightly competitive game, like 34 to like 21. That would be fine with me.
I might consider taking a team bye week this week for how far the actual bye is. It's good strategy.
Go out to dinner, get drunk, don't watch the game. check the score once it's over with. Get ready for Sunday Night Football. Don't watch that Bills game unless Josh Allen's hurt. Then you have a shot. But even then, I don't know.
But does Captain America ever get hurt?
Dude, no. He's awesome.
He just runs through everything. We're on to Week 9. We're on the road. We're going to the Packers' house November 2nd. It's starting to get a little bit chilly out. Who pulls this one out?
That is true. Green Bay will win this game. They're really talented, and man, it just something about Green Bay just throws me off. I want to put them as contenders, but I just can't quite put them there. But they're still far and away a better roster with a better coach, with just a better quarterback. So Green Bay has every advantage, and they're also playing at home too. And it could be a little chilly out that day. So give me Green Bay.
I think all it takes is one real love playoff run, and we will all respect him as a top 10 quarterback, and that will never not be said again. You know, it just takes one of those.
He had that 2023 run where he destroyed the Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was a rough one. I was miserable that day. And then he had that that weird game against San Francisco where it was a competitive game, and then like last minute he throws like the worst interception of all time. It was like Jordan, like what are we doing, dude? But yeah, they'll be a good team. They'll make the playoffs, I think.
For sure. Now we're on to Week 10. We're back at home. The Saints come to town in division. Who wins this?
I think the Panthers put belt to ass here. I'm not the biggest fan of the
shock,
Saints.
Probably potentially playing at this point.
Can I say one nice thing though about the Saints? Like,
yes,
they haven't. We if you guys haven't watched any of our past videos, we consistently kind of roast the Saints anytime they come up.
We dog them,
we kind of dog them. Their offensive line is actually like could be pretty good. It is a young unit, but Banks, Fuanga, we'll see what Penny can do. Probably at guard. Cesar Ruiz too is a young player. Like that's a young offensive line that, you know, now that they're off of Derek Carr, they're at least seems like they have a direction now with Tyler Shock. But they still got a long way to go. I think the Panthers right now are just as good, if not slightly better.
So that's a win. Just confirming.
Yes.
Awesome. We are 4-6. Going into Week 11 on the road, we're going to play the Falcons. Who wins this?
I'm going to have them splitting here. Give me the Falcons. I think the Falcons will win this one. I talked about them. Panthers are a good team, can potentially make the playoffs. I don't think they get swept by Carolina.
Very nice. 4-7. It's do or die if you want to make the playoffs. We go back on the road. It's going to be Monday Night Football on the road against San Francisco 49ers. Who's going to win this one, Metro?
You got to think they'll upset at least one team this year.
Just one, man, right?
And my whole heart is saying don't be stupid and pick San Francisco. But at the same time, wouldn't it be funny as hell if San Francisco on Monday Night Football with the entire world watching, they're trying to make a playoff push, and Brock Purdy just has a stinker.
They have the most Mickey Mouse schedule I have seen in my entire NFL history. They're going to be playing a whole bunch of dumpster fires, and they're going to roll up on the Panthers, the 13-0 Panthers, and they're going to put belt to ass on San Fran. That's my bold prediction.
I'm going to go with Carolina here. I think maybe they're in a world where they're we got an easy schedule. We'll take it light the rest of the way, and then they get snuck up on by Carolina. Bryce Young kind of throws back the clock to Bama version. So give me the Panthers here in an upset.
Let's go. They would be demoralized. I can't wait for. I want that for Panthers fans, man. They deserve it.
I do too.
They deserve
It'd be so funny if like San Francisco's like, what would be their record at that point? They're like,
I don't know, like
we're 12 weeks in the season. Yeah, they're like 10-2. Their best team they've went up against is like a 4-win team, and they're like, we're winning the championship this year. Carolina rolls to town at their stadium. Monday Night Football. George Kittle's on the sideline crying. Like, maybe I'm just a hater.
You ain't no hater. That's just poetry. We need to see it. We're on to week 13. We're back at home, but the Rams come to town. It's November 30th. Who's winning this game?
That is one of, if not my current Super Bowl favorite, the Rams. So I think the Rams humble them a little bit. They get that super high from San Francisco, but I think LA kind of brings them down. I think it'll be a close game though. LA is not a team that blows teams out. It'll be like 30-26 or something like that. But it'll be a fun game though.
Totally. And if I'm reading this right, November 24th will be right before Thanksgiving. I'm guessing. I don't know the actual date. So enjoy Thanksgiving week with your family and live it up. That'll be the high of the season. And then back to reality. This is what a real playoff team looks like. Now we are 5-8 on the season. We have a bye week. We're going to brush it off. We're feeling good. At this point in the season, when people have bye weeks, Metro, if the team's struggling, that's where you feel the media hype up coach's head, quarterback's head. They talk about it because they have time to. If we're 5-8 on the season, do we feel Canales and Bryce Young are safe? I think they're probably going to be just fine, but what are your personal thoughts?
I was actually just about to say that like exact same quote that you just said, so you kind of read my mind. But I was like, dude, this bye week, if they're 5-8, this is really, you got to be kind of stressing a little bit. I would assume they'll be fine, but man, those next 4 games, there's some pressure to show something. Because if you go out there and have some stinkers, I think you got to win at least 2 of them and look competitive against Tampa Bay and Seattle and those teams. But you got to show something to give them faith. I think. By the way, I think Bryce will play good this year. I just think there's some games here that will be tough to win here. But yeah, week 15.
Yeah, and also to add, we on this show never encourage any kind of coach to lose his job or any kind of quarterback not developing. We want to see Bryce Young win, and we know he will. It's just we know the media overblows shit, so we're trying to predict what's going on with them. So, on to Week 15, we have the Saints. We're on the road. How does this one go, Metro?
I think that this is the year the Panthers sweep them. I think New Orleans is in a rebuild. I wouldn't be surprised if at this stage they're kind of tanking. Not saying they're going to do it, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe they're tanking a little bit. New Orleans wants a top pick for potential receiver or corner or edge rusher, and so they might be throwing some backups in there to see what they look like. Also, New Orleans just can never seemingly stay healthy. So I'm going to give the win to Carolina here. I think this is a post-bye week. They get more rest. Tyler Shock we'll see what he's looking like. I think Shock will be fine, by the way. But, give me Carolina to sweep the Saints.
Heck yeah, 6-8. Now we're feeling pretty damn good. We are back at home. The Bucs come to town, and we're going to see them again here in 2 more weeks. Who wins this game on December 21st at home?
Man, this would be
a chilly
super.
one.
Yeah, it's in Carolina. It shouldn't be too chilly. Carolina's typically pretty warm. I'm going to go Tampa Bay. They're just a really good team. They'll probably make the playoffs. They got a good quarterback. Overall, just in general, a good roster. Give me Tampa Bay.
I'm with you there. We're back on. Actually, we're at home. Very nice. But the Seahawks come to town. And this is both Tampa and Seahawks are going to be teams in the hunt, at least in my opinion. They have enough talent to get there. So you're going to get their best is what I'm trying to say. So Seahawks at home, how do you think how it goes?
Well, you can either get their best or they could overlook you as they're getting prepared for a playoff push.
This is true.
They maybe could overlook you and say, well, it's the Panthers. We're better than them. I think at this stage, if you're looking at week 17 and 18, I kind of think if you're Canales and Bryce, you got to win one of these two. So it's between Seattle or Tampa Bay. Also, Tampa Bay very well could end up benching their starters if they've already made a playoff spot. I don't think they'll be in that situation. I think they'll kind of be in a seeding war. But against Seattle specifically, I kind of feel like Darnold will start the season off similar to how he did with Minnesota, where he'll come out the gates playing well, and then towards the back end stretch, he's going to have some questionable performances. And I think this game against the Panthers could be that one. So in a bit of an upset here, and I think we did a Seahawks video, and I'm pretty sure I had Seattle winning this one, but screw it. Who cares? Seahawks fans, I know you guys watched that video. You might be checking this one out. My bad, but give me the Panthers. Why not?
Let's go. Tally it up. We are now 7-9. Best record in a long time. Here we go. Final week, week 18 on the road to the Bucs. Are our starters playing? Are they not? Let's say they are, because it's pretty rare that they aren't. Who wins this game for the close out the season?
Are we 7-9 or 6-9?
We are 7-9.
I think we have to be. I think we'd 7-9. That work?
Because
Oh
you
yeah,
finished
yeah,
9-8 now. I'm with you. The old math throws me off.
I know. I was thinking to myself like, well, does that
It
make sense?
bothers
It
me.
does. Okay, we're good. Okay, Tampa Bay week 18. Ooh. See each other 2 of the last 3 weeks. I have a hard time seeing Carolina beat Tampa Bay. Though I guess let's look back to last year. Tampa Bay beat them 48-14 and 26-23 in overtime. So give me Tampa Bay. I'll go Tampa Bay to win.
It's the right answer. And also, in that building, they're going to try to win every game possible. But also, if you have 7 wins in the season, you'll be in the building next year.
I feel like that's not bad. I mean, that's 2 more wins than last year. And
yeah.
It kind of aligns with what we've been talking about, where we think the team will be better, but not significantly better, especially on offense and on defense. So that kind of all checks out in some ways.
That's right. We finished the season 7-10. We are going to miss the playoffs, but the vibes are high. I can tell you that. We've put built ass on some Saints and then also sweeping them and then also picking up some good upset wins on the road and at home. Anything else you want to talk about in this season schedule?
No, Carolina fans, a lot to look forward to next year. It's just another step in the right direction. I don't think you'll make the playoffs next year, but in 2026, that's the year you want to put it all together. So if you are a Panthers fan, there should be some optimism, especially with Bryce. But just give it time. They're not ready yet, but they'll be there soon.
That's right. You should be excited. This is one of the few young upcoming teams with a cool head coach. It's going to be a good time. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. We appreciate you more than you know. Comment below how you think the season will go. Do you think it'll be 7-10, like we said, more like a 5-12, or maybe they're making the playoffs. Maybe they're 9-8. Let us know down below. If you enjoy NFL content, also subscribe, because we're going to be here every single Monday and Thursday during the summer, bringing you content when nobody else is. Make sure you like the video as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you more than you know. Metro, get us out of here.
Appreciate all you guys for watching. Peace out.